Hi everyone, I'm Laura Campbell, one of the ministerial interns at CLF here, and in response to the tragedy today, I just happened to be at Murray Grove, the birthplace of Universalism, doing a training with the UU Trauma Response Ministry. So I've asked Julie Taylor, the Reverend Julie Taylor, one of our trainers, to give us a little bit of information about some of the best ways and some of the things that we can do to help deal with responses to trauma.
So, and thank you for being here, part of the training, but also then to have this opportunity to talk about pretty early on what are some of the ways that we can cope with increased anxiety over an event like what happened today, over a fatal incident at an event that was certainly a surprise. So first of all, just because of the fight or flight response that's part of what we all have, events bring up stuff and it can make it difficult to concentrate or to want to pay attention to what's happening. Very typical to have folks having a difficult time in interpersonal relationships, can get a little bit rough around the edges, right? So that happens after events, and this is a pretty big event that's going to affect lots of people across a wide range. So what are the things that you can do to help cope with that? First of all, there are finding out, do you have social support, right? We've got an online community that this is a part of right now. So this is, first of all, a community, and that's important.
As well as pastoral care that comes with that too. So if folks ever want to reach out to any of the ministers at CLF, we're here to be involved, to support that.
So whether it's one-on-one support or social support within a larger community, be it in person or online, that becomes an important tool, is that you don't need to be alone. And that's important. You don't have to be alone through talking through or being around critical incidents. There are three things that are not cognitive that research has shown help shift some of the chemistry in our brain that happens when we go into that fight or flight response. Three things that you don't have to think about, but you do, and the brain chemistry changes and helps regulate. And the first is exercise. And it can be simple exercise. It doesn't have to be big, prolonged, ongoing. It doesn't, just because you have never had this big yoga practice or skiing, right? We're talking about walking around the block. Something real simple, but it gets your body moving. Important way to just change that brain chemistry and lower some of the stress reactions. The second is prayer or meditation or deep breathing. Could be singing. Singing requires you to breathe. Well, for some people, singing could be part of a meditative practice, a meditation practice. But prayer, lots of prayers are sung. So anything in those categories are great tools and resources at this particular time. The third piece is laughing, and laughing can be a little bit tricky, but just physically laughing changes the brain chemistry. Research has shown that. You got to be careful about laughing. Some people are not going to necessarily find it appropriate in every single situation. So if you're going to use laughter as a tool, make sure you're with folks that are going to understand what that's about and support you in it. So, you know, kind of connected to, instead of turning on the news and watching news nonstop, maybe instead decide to watch a Friends episode or, you know, a Steve Harvey episode or a funny movie rather than watching the news nonstop.
Right.
But something that can allow you to do a little laughing is part of shifting the brain chemistry. So those are three things to begin with. I would also say another tool is limit your media exposure.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, we want to know everything that's going on.
And that's the thing. One thing that's hard right now in these acute stages immediately following a critical incident is there's a lack of information, but what we want is information.
Right.
And so how you balance those is difficult. One thing, just a little phrase to think about in the back of your head, can you get good with not knowing for right now? Right? Can I be good with not knowing everything right now? Because if I need to know everything right now, I might be inclined to watch the news constantly. We have 24-hour stations that have a need for always having more. It may not be new information. It may just be rehashing the same old and the same old. And the problem with that can be you don't give yourself a break. And you're just sucked into thinking more and more and getting more involved in an incident instead of giving yourself a break when there's actually no new information coming right now. But that's tempting. It's really tempting. And really, the news media, their job is to try to get you to watch them more.
Right.
And
Right.
so right at the moment, we're not going to get a lot of new information for a while. It's going to come out in dribs and drabs. So just
Right.
be aware of that, and especially if you got kids,
Yeah.
helping to limit your kids' exposure to television, lots of television information could be a really useful tool. If you need more resources about how to talk to your kids about critical incidents, there is information on our website, which is www.traumaministry.org.
Okay.
And we'll put
I'll
that
put that
up
up across the bottom
across
for
the
folks.
bottom. If you need to talk to somebody, if you've got a therapist, a spiritual director, a minister, a counselor, somebody that you're already connected to, might be a good time to give them a call, or reach out to if you've got somebody within proximity.
Sure.
Also, if you need to call the UU Trauma Response Ministry hotline, our number is 888-760-3332.
Okay, and I'll put that across the bottom too, so that
Right.
folks, and we'll have that available. I think even just showing up for the vigil here is also a really good space, a safe space for folks to be able to come together and not be fed by some of that negative stuff that's happening.
Keep in mind, what are the positive things that you can do right now to keep yourself supported? Whatever they are, let us know if you need more support.
Great. Thank you, Julie. We so appreciate all the work that you're doing for the Trauma Response Ministry and all the good work that you've done in terms of helping folks in incidences. And I think, sometimes that, we might not be in the place where the event happened,
Right.
but it still affects us and we still have some of those reactions.
That's right.
And could be a world away from it.
That's right.
And so being aware of things like exercising and engaging in some sort of a prayer practice, meditation, and then, having those I would call that sort of a breather moment, whether you're laughing, or, watching old I Love Lucy episodes, something that brings some lightness back into your spirit for the moment, can really help us in these times. So thank you again for all your work, and appreciate you sharing this time with us.
Thanks.